gods and archetypes and psychic complexes.
I mean, what's the question? Say it again real slow. Don't want to die. Nobody wants to die.
How's it going? Welcome to this week's episode of Comedy's Dead. I'm your host, Josh Goldstein. Still need a tagline for the show. Something to open every week on so I feel less socially awkward, which it is never. I'm never going to feel less socially awkward. It's fine. Welcome, week 2, right? This is the fourth one I've recorded, but this is the second week. Happy to be here. That's not necessarily true, right? I'm happy to be doing the podcast. I'm going to open every week complaining about being a guy with a podcast. I hope everybody knows that. I just, I like doing this. I think I'm okay at it, but yeah, I've become the thing I hate the most in the world, which is the guy who tells everybody to listen to his podcast, because I know most of you don't care. It's fine. Well, if you're listening, you care, but everybody else, all those fucking losers, all 8 billion of them, they can go fuck themselves. I know they hate me right now, and that's fine, it's A-okay in my book. I feel like I didn't do a good job of prefacing the podcast last week. I kind of just jumped into it, which is cool, but I guess I kind of started this from the basis of as a stand-up comic, you're always looking to like improve your skills in whatever way possible. So I think just forcing myself to talk a bunch of shit for 45 minutes is gonna make me, it's gonna make me sound a little more natural on stage. I think that's the goal. Like, even just doing this for 3 weeks, I feel like way sharper and better as a comedian on stage, like way looser, more natural. And I think part of that's just like doing comedy for, multiple years of your life and just getting better naturally. But I do think this is like, because like that is the main focus of this podcast. Like, yeah, I want it to be listenable, but at the end of the day, like, I'm trying to get better as a stand-up, and so that's like what I'm trying to bring to this is, work out a joke idea. If I have something that I don't really know how to approach on stage, I'll just like throw it out on the podcast, talk about it for way longer than I would get to on stage. It's less of a stunted, choppy, because like when because like I write a lot of stuff word for word, so when I'm on stage, like everything I say is kind of like, not everything I say, but sometimes it can sound very, it sounds very written. So I think this is a good exercise in forcing your brain to like completely, go off track and, be loose in a way that you really wouldn't necessarily be able to if you're trying to just have a tight set. Because it's tougher as like a younger comic, where if you're older and you have the respect and the freedom of, having done it for 15 years, you're doing longer sets, so you can like really think out an idea on stage without wasting stage time, where it's like the newer you are, the less time you have, so you're kind of like, you have to make every single minute count, so you don't want to be too, do too much crowd work or go into the, be too riffy and talk, go off the top of your head too much, because it's like I only have so much time to work out the stuff I've been working on all week. So I think this is like a good stopgap for being successful. And no, but I'm happy to be here, I'm happy to be doing this. What's going on today? I had a great night last night. I got a guest spot on it over at Capo. Shout out to my guy Will Noonan. I had a lot of fun there. Sunday I did a guest spot over at the Beacon Hill Pub. Dude, I've been feeling really good on stage lately. Like, I really think it's the podcast. Like, I feel like I've taken just a leap in the last couple weeks, where I just feel I'm just having fun. Like, I'm not trying to do any, I feel a little bit better about, I think, because, I don't know, this is just my own personal, how I started with comedy, but like, I think there's a natural thing when you do anything. Like, you start and you're just trying to like get people to laugh, like that's all you're trying to do. But then the more you prove yourself to yourself, the more you kind of like try to test your own boundaries and go like, oh, can I get away with this? Can I do that? You just keep trying to up the ante. So I think for really, like, most of when I've been doing comedy, I've been trying, I've been just trying to see how complicated and hard the jokes I write, I can pull them off. Like, tougher subjects to tackle, stuff that makes people uncomfortable. And those are the type of jokes I like as it is, like my favorite comics do those types of bits. So that's what I really want to do, long term. But, you kind of learn as you go along, like, oh, like, you need a skill set around that. Like, you need to be able to, like, you got, most people who are listening to this either know me or know people who know me, and, like, they got to, when you're talking to, like, a random crowd, in East Bumfuck, New Hampshire, and it's all 65-year-old people, like, it's not like you're just talking to your friends, you have to, like, learn how to connect with them. So, like, building the skill sets of, like, oh, here's how you do this joke to establish your personality, and then you can do that into that, and then you have to warm them up before you can just, like, jump into fucking, oh, so that one time I did blackface, you can't just, like, jump into it. So you have to, like, there's a lot of stuff that, only putting in the time gets you, and I feel really, like, fucking happy and proud that, like, I'm finally seeing where it's like, oh, if I need to connect with these people, I can do that, Because, like, I know long term that wouldn't be my audience if I ever fucking made something out of this. But, if you want to get the work short term to be able to build to that level of comedian, you have to learn, It's like if you have a good fastball, no matter how good that fastball is, somebody's going to be able to hit it. Like, you need to have the off-speed stuff, You need to have that curve, the slider, the changeup, And then when you have a full repertoire of pitches, that's when you're fully developed, whatever. But that takes a long time of work to get there, and I'm nowhere close to that. So just, any level of improvement, I feel you feel really good about. So I'm having a great week on stage. This weekend I went to, or not two, so I guess 2 weekends ago, I went to Laugh Boston. I hung out at the Late Show. I saw fucking Shane Gillis headline. Holy shit, that guy is a good fucking comedian. Not to take anything away from, like, all the other guys, coming out of New York right now, but I've seen most of them live. I think he is the most well-rounded of all of them. Like, he really fucking blew me away when I saw him the other day. Just like, obviously, like, just funny, like, tight, punchline after punchline, but, like, the looseness and the changing the jokes for the room and, like, interacting with the crowd and riffing off of, things that are happening. Like, he was fucking outstanding. Like, just really, like, because I knew he was a good comic going in, but, you never know when, like, you could catch him on an off night. Like, I've seen some guys where people who are like, that guy's one of the best comics in the world, and I've seen them just go out and completely eat a dick, because, like, we all do that. That's just the nature of comedy. But he had a fucking awesome set, and I think he taped his special, like, either the day before or, like, the day after or 2 days after. So very excited to see that, because I just saw that whole hour in person. His opener, I don't know who it was, but Mike Bain, Boston comic who just moved to New York, he hosted, but Gillis brought his own opener. That guy fucking crushed too. Yeah, that was a really good show. Yeah, doing good with the comedy stuff these days. The Olympics are going on. Simone Biles, everybody's talking about that. Like, dude, I saw people who were like, how dare she embarrass America by backing out of the team part of the gymnastics competition. It's just like, it's like, really, that is what is embarrassing America? Fucking gymnastics? Have you ever, like, turned on the news anytime in the last 60 years? Is it gymnastics was your line? That was the one? It was, I don't even know how old she is. Like, a 20-year-old girl who was like, yeah, I'm not feeling it today. That's what embarrassed America. Like, it's the fucking, who gives a shit about the fucking Olympics? I think I talked about it last week, but, like, dude, the thought that anybody actually thinks that this matters, like, that a bunch of fucking, borderline child slaves competing for a bunch of medals that nobody really gives a shit about, that's what embarrassed America, guys. That's we're not an international laughingstock because, every time, anybody tries to say, like, hey, maybe don't, have have a police force that kills people, we beat the shit out of them. Like, oh, you think we beat the shit out of people? I'll show you by beating the shit out of you. That was somehow less embarrassing than a girl not fucking competing in gymnastics. I'm pretty sure they won, by the way. Like, it's not like it affected... Maybe they got bronze or something. It's not like it fucking affected anything. But no, she disgraced the country, and we should probably just make a new one, because the girl who does flips didn't do them. That's, like, why even have a country if we don't have our best gymnastic athlete going, Like, we don't need a Congress. We just need a bunch of 16-year-olds who are the victims of horrible crimes that were, covered up by the Olympic Committee. Why are we holding up the Olympics as the good guys? These people are all victims. It's nothing happy going on at the Olympics. It's just a bunch of fucking... And it's like, and there's nobody in the crowds. It's all fucking COVID. Like, who is this for? Who is enjoying this right now? I don't understand. Like, I was watching the basketball, and it's like you couldn't even watch it on TV. It's at fucking 1 in the morning. They're not even trying until the second half every single game. You know what's weird is the guys who saved the Team USA last night. So we beat Spain in the semifinals. We were down 15 before the half, and then we had like a huge swing. I think we ended up winning by 20 or something around there. I kind of turned it off in the last 4 minutes. The guys who won it for us it was Drew Holiday and Devin Booker, really, and they just fucking competed against each other in the NBA Finals, and then all the guys who had a couple weeks rest are just fucking throwing up bricks all game, except for Kevin Durant. He's the best player in the world. I don't care what anybody else says. That guy, he's unstoppable. He's a 7'3". He's not listed at 7'3", but if you look at pictures of him next to other guys his size, he's 7'3". He's a 7'3" guy who is the best shooter to ever step on a court. And I know, look, Steph Curry is a better pure shooter, but Kevin Durant's length lets him shoot over anybody, and he can hit shots from any point on the court. Steph has to get open to shoot. Kevin Durant can score from anywhere, anyway. He's a pretty good defender on top of that. He's got the length to defend any position. He's the best fucking player in the league. But yeah, fucking Tatum's been awful. It's been weird. It's I'm not enjoying Olympic basketball as much as I wish I was, but I think it's just because all the games are either at 6 in the morning or 1 o'clock at night. It's kind of bullshit, but it is what it is. NBA free agency. That's been crazy. The Celtics have done absolutely fucking nothing. We brought back Enes Kanter. That's that's really moving the needle there. I get what they're doing, where people are, people are very upset that they're not making a huge splash right now. But it's not like they had a lot of salary cap space. So basically, they let Evan Fournier walk. He's a really good player. It's kind of unfortunate because we didn't, really we traded for 2 first-round picks for him at the end of last season. We didn't really get to see him, play at full strength because he came in for a couple games. A bunch of guys were out with COVID. And then he got COVID, and he came back, and he was actually really good. I think he shot 47% from 3, which is really good in the first place. But then he shot 53% on catch and shoot threes, which was better than everybody else in the league, including Steph Curry. But he got $80 million from the Knicks over 4 years, and I think the Celtics were only offering 3 years, $48 million. So I get what they're doing is they're trying to keep, cap space for next season because realistically they could work a sign and trade or something like that for Bradley Beal, but it is kind of disappointing to know they're basically using this season to give young players minutes and see them develop. So when they finally get the third guy to put next to Brown and Tatum, they have a bench who actually has, enough playing time to be able to handle those situations, when we get to the playoffs. I get that, I think they're actually going to be better than they were last year. People are, shitting on them they actually, I don't think the Celtics season last year was as disappointing as people are saying it was because they were the team most impacted by COVID in the entire NBA. but you're expecting them to like compete at a top level at the end of the season. It's like they lost. Like Tatum legitimately said he could not breathe correctly from the time he got COVID for another 2.5 months. He wasn't right until, March? That's when he started. And what happens when he fucking comes back in March? He put up 4 50-point games in one season, I think. I think it was 6, maybe. Maybe 4. It was 4 or so 50-point games in a single season. Steph Curry didn't do that. Dame Lillard didn't do that. And then Brown was out a lot of the time. They didn't really have a bench, which they still don't. Although at the end of the season, Nesmith finally figured out he became a 50% three-point shooter, which is an insane number. You get a guy like that who can defend next to Tatum and Brown. For all the shit Marcus Smart gets, he's like a 37% three-point shooter over the last 3 seasons. That's a pretty good rate. If you shoot 33% from 3 or 50% from 2, it's the exact same number of points. So, I don't think those stats really look as bad as whatever. And people are like, well, he hijacks the offense. It's like, well, when fucking Tatum and Brown are the only people who can score and half the roster's out with COVID for the entire fucking season, who else is going to take the shots? Like, Nesmith was, he was great at the end of the season, but he was shooting like 20% from 3 at the beginning, and, I like Romeo Langford. I think they're going to try to move him over to the point guard, which is more what he played in college. And put him next to Smart with, they got Yamadar, the Israeli Steph Curry coming in, dropping bombs on the defense like they're a bunch of Palestinian refugees. Oh, come on. I think we're gonna have I think it's gonna be a fun season. I don't think it's gonna be there was no move we could conceivably make this offseason that was gonna bring us over the Nets. So it's stupid to be like, well, why didn't you go all in this year? When it's just like, well, if we go all in this year, we won't be able to go all in next year. And, you're going to be going all in to make marginal improvements that aren't going to get you to the championship level you want to be. So if you're able to sit back and conserve your assets and then reevaluate the situation when a lot of players hit the open market next year, you're giving the team, they have a much better chance of building a contender than just, going all in because, it's better than punting a season, I guess. But it's like you have 4 years until Tatum and Brown are up for their extensions. I think you have 3 full seasons until Jalen's extension. That's what you're playing for. You're not playing for right now, If you bring in a 32-year-old or 31-year-old Damian Lillard, that doesn't get you where you want to be when you're at Tatum's extension because he's going to be 34 then. He's not going to be the same player. He's probably still going to be very fucking good. But I'd rather have, a 27-year-old Jaylen Brown at that year than a 34-year-old Damian Lillard. I think I talked about this on the 2 test episodes that you guys aren't going to hear. So you fucking losers are never going to hear this rant. Now, I get very annoyed when people talk about how we should, go all in for Lillard or something like that because it's just like, you're trading all of your current assets for a chance to try and win now once. But it's like, if you get another star to put next to this core, it's like you want them to go next to Tatum and Brown. You don't want to give up Brown. Like, trading one star and all the assets around that for another star does not improve you enough. You need the third star. That's how this works. You need a big 3 right now. There's enough, there's just enough talent in the league that you need that third guy. You can't give up the second guy just to get another second guy. It's kind of redundant, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's a bunch of fucking armchair people, like people who don't actually know what the fuck they're talking about. Like anyone who wants to trade Marcus Smart should be lobotomized. I genuinely mean that. You don't trade a first-team All-NBA player who can shoot 37% for 3, who's a really consistent passer, and is he is by all accounts the captain of your team. You don't trade that guy. By the way, he doesn't have much of a market. He has 1 year left until free agency, so he's not. You're not going to get anything for him. You're just going to get him off the team, and it's going to make you considerably worse. We did get Josh Richardson. That he's for all the people who complain that we had no bench last year, now they're going, well, Josh Richardson's not good enough, and it's just like does anything make you people happy? I don't think it has to be championship or bust right now. I think you can let a 23 and a 24-year-old develop with a bunch of 21 and 22-year-olds around them, instead of holding them up to the standard of like fucking Michael Jordan didn't win till he was 28 years old. Fucking LeBron didn't win until he was 26 or something like that. Giannis didn't win until he was, I think he's 26 this year, maybe 27. Like, you know, you're holding them up to like unrealistic standards. You know, like they're kids. They're still fucking developing. You know, like you can't just expect them to be a fully polished NBA player at 23 years old. 22. He was 22 going. Tatum was 22 going into the season, and people are like, well, he's not enough of a winner because he couldn't get past the super team of James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant by himself when Jaylen Brown was out. You know, it's just, you know, I'm just sick of living with my father. That's really what I'm talking about. Is just. I can't deal with more, you know, mid-50s Bostonian white guys who do not understand how basketball has been played since 1986. It's not the same fucking league. You know, it's just like, yeah, we should do everything to trade for Andre Drummond. It's like, well, he just got a fucking minimum contract with the Sixers because nobody thinks a big who can't run, defend the perimeter, or fucking shoot outside of 10 feet. Nobody thinks that guy is valuable in the NBA, you know? I don't know. It's not like I know anything about basketball. I've never played. It's been the Red Sox, they lost a few tough games the week. They've been on a huge skid. I don't think they have it this year. You know, like we're in first place still, right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't trust this team. Like I know we all said that in 2013, but like I trusted the 2013 team way more, you know? Because like those guys were all scrappy veterans, but like they were all veterans who had been there before. This is all a bunch of scrappy young guys. They don't have any defense. Like there's not a single plus defensive player on the Red Sox right now, besides Christian Vazquez behind the plate. But everyone else is like a subpar to like okay defensive player. I mean, Verdugo's, I think. Yeah, Verdugo's he's had a lot of outfield assists, but he's not like the fastest guy. He's not fucking Mookie, you know. But fucking Chris Sale, I think he comes back this week or something like that. He's been having rehab starts out in Worcester. I'm very excited to see him. Fucking Tanner Houck, he's been crushing it since he came up. Like 14 Ks against the Yankees. You know, it'll be an interesting end to the season, but I'm not holding out, you know. It's not a championship or bust with them. I just don't expect anything out of them. If something good comes out of it, awesome. But like, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna expect anything. I did go to the game last Thursday against the Blue Jays. I'm kind of pissed about it. So it was Jerry Day. It was Jerry Garcia Day at Fenway Park. So it was you know, it was a regular baseball game, but it was just filled with a bunch of fucking 70-year-olds wearing tie-dye. It was wonderful. They did a cover band. Skull and Roses, a local Dead cover band. They did like an hour and a half set on Jersey Street before the game. So we I went with my dad. We went into the park and stood like you could go on the first base line in the standing room zone. You could kind of like see, you know, look down onto Jersey Street from there, and it was like kind of like having a perfect balcony seat. Because it was raining, so we posted up there before everybody realized that was the spot to hang. We got our fucking dicks kicked in that game. So I waited this whole fucking game just because basically, so with the ticket, you got to go to the free pregame concert. You got the ticket to the game. They send us free hat. They're sending us free hats with like the Jerry hand, which Jerry Garcia was missing his middle finger on his right hand. So it's got, the hat has like the logo of like a palm print with missing middle finger, and has the Red Sox logo in there. And then we had access to like a free, so everybody with the ticket that said, instead of where it said price of ticket, just said Jerry. And if you had Jerry on your ticket, you could post game, you could go up onto the Sam deck, which is, you know, like the big right field deck at Fenway, and they were gonna play a Jerry Garcia band concert until they had like a hard out at 11:15. So I wait through this whole fucking game. I think we lost like, I don't even know. It was like 13 to something. Yeah, I wait through this whole fucking game just to go up and watch JGB concert, you know, at Fenway on the big screen. And we lost 13-1. So I think that started at like 10:45. They cut us off after a song and a half. It was supposed to go to 11:15. They cut it off at 10:55. They literally gave us maybe 15 minutes of the thing we bought fucking tickets for. So everyone who works at Fenway Park can heartily go fuck themselves, especially because they cut it off in the middle of a fucking song. Like, at least give us until the end of the song. Don't just fucking, they cut it off at 10:55. They said 11:15 hard out, 10:50. And the funny thing was, a lot of the people there were like fucking like dudes who were in the shit back in the 60s, and like their brain is so fried from all the hallucinogens they did back then. They were just absolutely so fucking confused when it happened. Like, all the younger people were like, that's a bummer. The older people were like, whoa, what's happening? I don't understand. They said 11:15. It was like they were just completely. It was specifically this one older guy. He kind of looked like a homeless person. He might have been. I don't know. He seemed like a cool dude. But his reaction was just like, I don't think I could explain to him what happened and he would get it. Like, no matter, like, if they kicked him out at 11:15, he would still have reacted that way, But that was fun. I'm getting ready. I'm pumped. I don't think I talked about this last week, but I'm getting ready to go away on tour for Dead and Company. Not like I'm touring, but I'm just following them. I guess 2 weeks from tomorrow is the first show I'm going to be at, Citi Field in New York. I'm pumped, I'm nervous. I'm fucking... Dude, you know how poorly fucking planned all this is? You know how dumb I am? So I'm supposed to fly into... So I'm doing New York, then Philly, and then I have tickets to 4 shows that are like upstate New York, eastern Pennsylvania. So I think the first one's Bethel, which is where Woodstock was. It's like literally on the farm that Woodstock was on. So it's like one field of the farm is the Woodstock field. And like there's a big peace symbol on it and all that. I actually been there before. And then right over, like the field over from that is a huge amphitheater. So that'd be really cool. It's going to be really cool. But I was supposed to drive it in my car and then my car died. So now I'm just sitting here like I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get to any of these shows. I think I can take a bus up from New York to Bethel, which would be fine, but, how the fuck am I going to get to, like, Darien Lake, which is Buffalo, and then Hershey, or then back to Saratoga, and then down to Hershey, and then back to Boston, and then Hartford after that, staying home for a couple days, flying out to Indy, doing a show in Noblesville, and then hitching with some friends over to Chicago, staying with a buddy in Chicago, and then, so that's the 18th of September, and then October 11th, I'm going to fly to Charlotte, take a bus from Charlotte, do the show, there's a show in Charlotte that night, take a bus from Charlotte to Atlanta, a couple nights in Atlanta with my buddy, there's one show there, and then I'm going to fly from Atlanta to Dallas. My buddy's coming down from Oklahoma City, or I think, he's from Tulsa, I think he's living in Norman now. I'm going to hitch with him. We're going to get an Airbnb with him and his girlfriend. Then we're going to do Dallas and Houston together. I'm going to fly from Houston up to Denver, spend a week in Denver with another friend. Then I have to somehow get from Denver to Phoenix to San Diego to LA, which I have no fucking idea how the hell I'm going to do that. I'm very nervous for that. I might just buy a plane ticket to fly between LA and San Diego, because I don't want to get stranded in the middle of fucking Phoenix with no way to get there. Because the real hard part is there's no direct flights from Phoenix to San Diego. And, if I find somebody to hitch with, that's one thing. But, I think Jeffrey Dahmer really ruined hitchhiking for all of us, I don't think people were afraid of it when it was just women going missing. But then once guys started going missing, it's like, all right, this is a problem. We probably shouldn't do this. It was the 70s. They had different attitudes. Yeah, and then up to LA. I'm spending a week in LA with a friend of mine. I'm doing like 10. He said he can get me like 10 comedy shows. I'm on a few right now. I'm doing some with some big name comics. I'm very nervous about that. Very excited. I just got I had a good set last night and I recorded the video, so hopefully I can send that out as a tape. But I don't know how it's gonna come out because I was listening back to it. The laughs weren't as loud as they felt in the room, just kind of a bummer. But it's very rare that you actually have a good set and tape it, because like everybody wants to get a good tape, but nobody tapes. You just never get the good one, because the camera's on you and then you clam up. But I had a really good set, so I'm hoping that comes out as a good video. But we'll see. Next week, I'm supposed to see Carlos Santana in concert. I'm excited for that, but last time I saw him, which was in 2019, like halfway through the show, he goes, hey, man, I don't know what he said, but he was just like, hey, we're going to bring up my sons, and they're going to rap. By the way, Carlos Santana is like a 70-something-year-old man. It's not like he had like a couple like 17-year-old sons where it's like, hey, it's a cool thing to let my kids. No, these were like grown 45-year-old men who he brought up to do terrible fucking raps over like not even like good Santana songs. It ruined the complete momentum of the concert. It's not even like he's like with the Santana band anymore, so it's not like it's like. Now I feel, most people who are listening to this will not know who the fuck I'm talking about, but his drummer, Michael Shreve, in the original Santana band, which is like the first 3 Santana albums, and then they had like a reunion album called Santana 4 a couple years ago. Like Michael Shreve is what made the Santana band, even beyond Carlos Santana. And, you're not seeing the real Santana band, and then he brings out these fucking kids. And I say kids like they're not grown-ass men, but he brings out his grown-ass adult sons to rap terribly for, it felt like an hour. It was probably like 2 minutes, but, it just completely ruined the show. Not ruined, it was still a good concert, but it was not smooth featuring Rob Thomas from Matchbook 20, I can tell you that. I think they did that as the encore. But, I'm excited. I think that's next Wednesday. I'm going to Farm Aid. That's September 25th. I'm pumped for that, man. It's like fucking Willie Nelson, Neil Young, John Mellencamp, Sturgill Simpson, Jason Isbell, Lucas Nelson, The Real. I think Margot Price is going to be there. I'm pumped. I've never seen Neil Young live. Really any of those guys live. So it's going to be a fucking sweet concert. I think I'm heading out with my friend of mine, Andrew Vickers, great comic. So yeah, it's just fucking exciting. I got a lot of shit in the works right now. I'm riding high. I finally fucking figured out this shit with my job. I don't know if I talked about this last week. I work at a dog daycare, so basically like I work on the weekends with the dogs who board. It's you'd think working with dogs is like fun. It's not. Honestly, it's not. Like it's not that because like I love dogs, right? But like a lot of these dogs are just complete pieces of shit. Like they're it's because you think I love dogs, which is true, right? But most people hate other people, and most dogs are raised by other people, so they just pick up all the shitty habits of their owners. It's like working with like 20 toddlers at once, except they're all trying to fucking size you up, like they're all. It's like prison rules. Like you walk into work and like especially because I have a relationship with a lot of dogs now because they come in consistently. But before you know them, like they're just trying to fucking see if they can like run the shit. They're just trying to punk you. So when I was starting, I had to go to my like what do I do if one of these dogs just being a dick and like they're big because they're a big fucking dog. Like I'm not a large man. There's some of these dogs are bigger than me. So it's like, what the fuck do you do? And she's like, no, you just gotta, like, you gotta come in with, like, a strong masculine energy and just intimidate them. And I was like, great, where's he? Because I would really like, I'm not that guy. So if he could show up at any time soon, this boxer is really giving me fits right now. Dude, that was hell. My first fucking weekend. This dog it was a boxer named Nelson. He was a sweet dog. He just wanted to hang out with me. But he would do it by hopping all the walls and like trying to break down doors just to get to me. And it was I was by myself with this fucking insane animal breaking. He broke multiple gates that day. It was fucking insane. Yeah, but I'm finally, I like how I went jobless for over a year during the pandemic. I still have not seen unemployment for most of those months. I don't know how I survived, except my parents. But I didn't have a job for most of the pandemic. I finally get one. I'm working at it a couple days, and I'm like, actually, I need to take about 7 weeks off to do drugs in the parking lots and follow a band around the country. And they just let me, which is fucking insane. My entire life is just filled with people who enable me. And I'm not gonna fight it, you know? I'm cool with it. I think they all seem to be getting pretty fucking fed up with it. But you know what? You know, none of them put their foot down. So what am I supposed to do? You know, not live out, you know, not abuse everybody's good graces? Probably. But you know what? I'm young. When else am I going to have the opportunity to mooch off of every single person in my life? You know? I went to the Sox game with my dad the other day. I think I just talked about that. But we went the other day, and I bought him dinner, and I was like, yeah, well, this was a big move for me. He bought the tickets, which was probably more expensive than the meal. But it was still big for me that I was able to afford a $45 dinner. That's a lot of money in my world, I gotta say. That's a borderline mortgage, the way I live life, you know. But fucking, what was I gonna talk about? It's the days between right now for the people who don't know, which is probably all of you. Basically, Jerry Garcia was born August 1st, which is why Jerry Day at the park was the other day, and he died August 8th or August 9th. So the days between his they're one of the best late era Dead songs is called Days Between, and it's, you know, basically like when we die, all that's left is the days between. You know, so it's celebrated as like the high holidays of getting high every year is the days between. So between August 1st and August 9th every year, you just kind of listen to the Dead and do drugs all the time. It's great, which I do really anyway, so it really hasn't changed my life that much. But you know, I've put a couple extra posts about the fat man on social media. It's actually cool. My two of really my biggest fucking heroes in life, Jerry Garcia and Tom Brady, and my mom, were all born within the same like 5-day span, which is pretty crazy. I like how my mom was an afterthought there. It's like, no, I like the fat heroin guitar man, and I like the football guy. Also, you know, the person who made me, she's okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's a significant week for me every year, you know. I'm looking down my topic list. I just wrote Cuomo. I don't know how to breach that subject. Dude, the thought of like, oh, I know where I was going with that. Dude, fucking, he blamed it on cancel culture. I'm not one of those people who complains about cancel culture all the time, because like I feel like we're at the point where like the people who complain about cancel culture are like way more annoying as the cancel culture people, because everyone's pretty united on like, yeah, these people are annoying. It's the people who like go out of their way to be like, I'm not one of these woke bitches. Like, they just annoy me to no fucking end. Like, it's not that I think it's okay to send some like death threats to someone's mom because they said chink on a podcast 7 years ago, but like I just feel like people, you know, people who, you know, complain about that shit all the time don't actually know what's wrong about the shit they're getting yelled at. Like, they're just people will just like blame any sort of consequences they have to face on their actions on cancel culture. It's like, dude, nobody's canceling you for being Italian. You sexually harassed like 25 women. It's not the same thing. Like, a criminal investigation is not cancel culture. I don't know who told you that. It's like, and look, I think we should be more accepting of other cultures, and I get that mistreating women is a big part of being Italian, but you just can't. It's not okay, man. I'm sorry if your people find that offensive. You know, Sonny or Fredo. Which one's he? Fredo's Chris Cuomo, right? So is this Sonny, Michael, or Tom Hagen? I don't know. Isn't there another one? Right, so it's Sonny, Michael, Fredo. Yeah, those are the three, and then Tom Hagen's like the consigliere. He's the adopted son. You know, he's the Irish wop. See, I'm trying to get canceled. I think it would be a good career move. You know, I think that's why I started a podcast. Is just now there's just a lot of evidence. So, you know, I'm not worried about cancel culture. I'm really not. Like, I don't think it's, because people are like, they're so, I don't know, they're like, you can't say anything. It's like, no, you can say anything you want, It's just you're going to get yelled at on Twitter by some Emerson students for a couple weeks. They're going to tire themselves out, and everyone's going to forget about it because nobody actually cared in the first place. They were all just fucking, trying to publicly show how good of a person they are. Then they're going to shut the fuck up once everyone else starts caring, and then everyone who did get the joke are now your fans, and you just got a bunch of free publicity because a bunch of fucking losers complained about a joke that they didn't even listen to enough to understand, or they took out the context or whatever. So yeah, like I don't know why everybody's so afraid of it, Especially like I think that the thing about cancel culture is like we all kind of like it. Like we don't like it when it's someone we like. But everyone likes seeing successful people fall. It's the best. It's like all these fucking people, acting like they care about Britney Spears right now. It's like you were all lapping it up with the rest of us when it happened. Like the two people who got Britney Spears right were fucking South Park, and they were the only ones who treated her like a human. The whole fucking episode, and then the Leave Britney Alone guy, and you all made fun of him. Her. I think it's a her. I shouldn't said it. Sorry. I think they are a her now. But she's a her? He's a her? I don't know. Look, that person is a her now. Is a woman now? I don't know. I believe they're a trans woman. That's fine. I don't even know why I don't think that's even a significant detail. But you all shit on them like this clearly mentally, unstable Britney fan whose dividing line in life was how mean people were being to Britney Spears. You were all pieces of shit to them. You brought, they were on Tosh.0. They were publicly dragged by the internet, and now everybody's like, actually, we were pretty fucked up back then. But it's not like people are like they still like blame the media and shit. It's like you gave them the clicks. This is your fault too. This is just another way for you to fucking claim you're a good person, even though you did all that shit just like everybody else did. I'm not, I was 8, so it's not like I really did much, but like, like she was a public, she was a walking joke to everyone. Nobody treated Britney Spears right in that point in time. So I don't know. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit. I don't think anybody actually really cares about most of the shit they post on social media. I really don't. Like all these fucking causes and issues, nobody really cares. It's like it's all a bunch of bullshit. It really is. It's like, because it's all gonna go away, and then you're gonna forget about it, and whatever person you were fighting for, whatever cause you were fighting for, they're just gonna have to keep fucking living their life as if all that shit fucking didn't just happen. And, you're going to keep moving on and just latch on to the new subject because, this isn't actually about fighting for good things. This is about you telling yourself you're a good person so you can sleep at night. That's all this is, I accept that I'm a flawed person, That's all. It's not, you just don't do any, I don't know. That's the way I see it. It's just, all this performative trying to, whatever. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Like, if you just, like, aren't a shithead to people in your life, I think that's all you really need to do. Well, like I'm talking like I know anything about life, but I don't know. It's, because like to me, it's just like if you just, I think you should just live by example instead of making everything some performative fucking thing about causes. Like, I think it just starts on the individual level. You're not just gonna magically change the world by, going out and demanding all, whatever you want. It's just like, because, it's like you might be objectively right in what you're fighting for, but that doesn't mean you're magically gonna, like, get everybody else's minds and hearts to change overnight, So if you go like, well, I did everything in my power to not be a piece of shit, and hopefully I inspired another person to not be a piece of shit, and if you improve, if you make one person a little less of a piece of shit, then you've made your impact in the world, That's all that really matters. It's just don't be a fucking cunt. Because especially, I don't know if I talked about this last week, but especially coming out of COVID, it's like the amount of people who just don't know how to fucking act in public anymore is mind-boggling. Like, the amount... Did I talk about this last week? Moosh, did I? Do you know? Are you listening? Anybody? Bueller. Yeah, like the amount of... Okay, I definitely did talk about this last week. Yeah, no, look, it's only... There's only so much I have on my brain, you know? Like, there's only so many topics that I can get into. If you want to make this a better podcast, which I hope you do because you're listening to it too, if you guys want to send in, like, hypotheticals or questions or something, you know, like, that would be fucking... That would be awesome because it would just give me another thing to talk about. I'm flying through this right now. It's just, you know, it'll make it a little bit easier on me than rambling about a bunch of shit that, like, maybe half of you care individually, but I don't, you know, I'm talking about a bunch of, you know, shit that I'm already into. You know, this is just an exercise in narcissism if you think about it. This is me just trying to talk out ideas and talk about all the shit that I like, regardless of whether or not you like it. Because I don't care about you. I care about me. That's really what this is about. This is, you know, this is just an exercise in me, you know. I think I just said, I was just trying to rephrase exactly what I just said. You're all pieces of shit is what I'm really saying. And I love all of you. Thank you very much for listening. You know, like I said, any feedback, any questions, you know, all that shit helps. This has been another fun episode, I think, of the Comedy's Dead podcast. Please like and subscribe. You wrote like and suck. If you guys want to suck me off, I don't know. You know, go for it. No, my podcast producer put like and suck in the podcast accidentally. It's not a correct thing, but you know, I'm open to it. But no, like and subscribe. Follow the podcast on Instagram at I think it's Comedy's Dead podcast. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Josh Goldstein. So it's just my name, but I switched up the first couple letters because I'm not that creative. I think Sunday night, if you guys are by Framingham, I'm going to be at China Gourmet. It's out on Route 9. I'm doing a fun show with the folks from Practice Talking Productions, the great Brianna Woodward, who's doing the animation for the intro of the podcast. That should be ready in a couple weeks. Mike Fahey, Trevor Dion. Great folks out there. It should be a fun show. I did it a couple weeks ago, and I had a really great time. I think I said I'm going to Santana next week, so I don't think I have anything Wednesday. You know, if I'm not really on anything else this week, but go out and see, you know, some live comedy. They got some great shows at, Comedy Party at Democracy Brewing. They got 2 shows, Friday and Saturday now, just 1 show each night. You know, go out and support them, you know, all the fun venues in the area. You guys have a great week. I will talk to you next time. Bye.